The cave continues the N.J. Dawood translation of Al-Quran. We will have some comments and some adjustments. And this is a chapter to say on the Fridays. And by Friday, I mean Sunset Thursday to Sunset Friday. It's said to be protection in the end times, or a means because of our belief and acting upon it, right? Are the first 10 verses, are the last 10 verses, are both the first 10 and the last 10 verses. And Rashida is the last word with the first 10 verses. And the first word of the last 10 verses is Aladina Kanat. Okay. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful, praise be to Allah who has revealed the book to his servant, shorn of contradictions and unswerving from the truth, so that he may give warning of a dire scourge from himself, proclaim to the faithful who do good works that a rich and everlasting reward awaits them, and admonish those who say that Allah has begotten a son. Surely of this they could have no knowledge, neither they nor their fathers. A monstrous blasphemy is that which they utter. They preach nothing but falsehood, yet if they deny this revelation, you may destroy yourself with grief, sorrowing over them. We have decked the earth with all manner of ornaments to test mankind and to see who would acquit himself best. But we will surely reduce all that is on it to barren dust. Did you think that the sleepers of the cave and Al-Raqim were a wonder among our signs? When the youth sought refuge in the cave, they said, Lord, have mercy on us, guide us out of our ordeal. And Rashida would be, guide. And some would say that the Bismillah would be it, and therefore Ajaba would be the term that we're looking at. And Ar-Raqim is the inscription. We made them sleep in the cave for many years and then awakened them to find out who could best tell the length of their stay. We shall recount to you their story in all truth. They were young men who had faith in their Lord, and on whom we had lavished our guidance. We put courage in their hearts, and when they stood up and said, Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, we call on no other as God beside him. For if we did, we should be blaspheming our proofs. Our people serve others as gods besides him, though they have no convincing proof of their divinity. Who is more wicked than the man who invents a falsehood against Allah? Now, blaspheming, that doesn't sound right in some respect, because it's not the same thing as having a different belief. But if you know that that belief's not right and it's offensive to God, then, it becomes that for you to do that, not necessarily for others to do that. I'm not sure of the language here, so I'm not turning against the language here. When you depart from them and from their idols, go to the cave for shelter. Allah will extend to you his mercy and prepare for you a means of safety. You might have seen the rising sun decline to the right of their cavern as it set. Go past them on the left while they stayed within. That was one of Allah's signs. So, they're facing south, really, because you face south and the sun declines to the right. That passes your left, which is why most languages write left to right. As one of the law's signs, he whom the law guides is rightly guided, but he whom he confounds shall find no friend to guide him. You might have thought them awake, though they were sleeping. We turned them about to right and left, while their dog lay at the cave's entrance with legs outstretched. Had you looked upon them, you would have surely turned your back and fled in terror. We roused them that they might question one another. How long have you been here? Asked one. A day or but a few hours, replied another, and yet another. Your Lord knows best how long you have stayed here. Let one of you go to the city with this silver coin and bring you back whatever food he finds most wholesome there. Let him conduct himself with caution and not disclose your whereabouts to anyone, for if they find you out, they will stone you to death or force you back into their faith. Then you will surely never prosper, ever. Thus did we reveal their secret, so that men might know that Allah's promise was true, and that the hour of doom was sure to come. The people argued among themselves concerning them. Some said, build a monument over their remains. Only their Lord knows who they were. Those who were to win said, let us build a place of worship over them. Some will say, the sleepers were three, their dog was the fourth. Others, guessing at the unknown, will say, they were five, their dog was the sixth. And yet others, seven, their dog was the eighth. Say, my Lord alone knows their number, few know them. And as much as the last is most likely, because tradition, outside of revealed tradition, indicates that, we're left with the lesson that, hey, it doesn't matter what the number was, as long as you believe there was a group of them, and they had their dog. Therefore, when you dispute about them, adhere only to that which is manifest, and do not ask any of these concerning them. Do not say anything, I will do it tomorrow, without adding, if Allah wills. When you forget, remember your Lord and say, may Allah guide me and bring me nearer to the truth. Some say they stayed in the cave 300 years and 9. Say, none but Allah knows how long they stayed in it. His are the secrets of the heavens and the earth. Clear is his sight and keen his hearing. Man has no other guardian besides him. He allows none to share his sovereignty. Proclaim what is revealed to you. In the book of your Lord, none can change his words. You shall find none for refuge besides him. Now, Gibbon's account in the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, I think it was a 6-volume set. I only own the abbreviated set, but in elementary school I read the other one. I just know I read it. It was one of those big books I read, partially because, sort of, I would read it and other people wouldn't. But 309, well, 9 would be the solar years is about 309 lunar years. So there could be some other significance, but that's the only one that I can think of. Restrain yourself together with those who pray to their Lord morning and evening, seeking his pleasure. Do not turn your eyes away from them in quest of the allurements of this life, nor obey him whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, who follows his appetite and gives a loose rein to his desires. Say, this is the truth from your Lord. Let him who will believe in it, and him who will deny it. For the wrongdoers we have prepared a fire, which will encompass them like the walls of a pavilion. When they cry out for help, they shall be showered with water as hot as molten brass, which will scald their faces. Evil shall be their drink, and dismal their resting place. As for those that have faith and do good works, we shall not deny them as the reward. They shall dwell in the gardens of Eden, where rivers will roll at their feet, reclining there upon soft couches. They shall be decked with bracelets of gold and arrayed in garments of fine green silk and rich brocade, blissful their reward and happy their resting place. Give them this parable. Once there were two men, to one of whom we gave 2 vineyards, set about with palm trees and watered by a running stream, with a grain field lying in between. Each of the vineyards yielded an abundant crop. And when their owner had gathered in the harvest, he said to his companion, while conversing with him, I am richer than you, and my clan is mightier than yours. And when, having thus wronged his soul, he entered his vineyard, he said, surely this will never perish, nor do I believe that the hour of doom will ever come. Even if I return to my lord, I should surely find a better place than this. His companion replied, while still conversing with him, have you no faith in him who created you from dust, from a little germ, and fashioned you into a man? As for myself, God is my Lord, I will associate none with my Lord. When you entered your garden, why did you not say, what Allah has ordained must surely come to pass? There is no strength except in Allah. And even the Vedic stuff agrees that the qualities of even fire and stuff only exist because ultimate divinity allows it to have those properties in that particular instance. Though you see me poorer than yourself and blessed with fewer children, yet my Lord may give me a garden better than yours, and send down thunderbolts from heaven upon your vineyard, turning it into a barren waste, or drain its water deep into the earth, so that you will find none of it. His fruits were destroyed, and he wrung his hands with grief at all that he had spent on the garden, for the vines had tumbled down upon their trellises. Would I have served no other gods besides my Lord, he cried. He had none to help him besides Allah, nor was he able to defend himself. In such ordeals, protection comes only from Allah, the true God. His is the best reward, and his the best requital. Remember all the gender neutrals and stuff we're using here. And we're not even saying the companion. Are we even saying the companions of the cave were all male, or coin for them a simile about the life of this world? It is like the vegetation of the earth that thrives when watered by the rain. We send down from the sky, soon turning into stubble, that which the wind scatters abroad. Allah has power over all things. Yeah, it just says for youths. Wealth and children are the ornament of this life, but deeds of lasting merit are better rewarded by your Lord, and hold for you a greater hope of salvation. Tell of the day when we shall blot out the mountains and make the earth a barren waste, when we shall gather all mankind together, leaving not a soul behind. They shall be ranged before your Lord, and he will say to them, you have returned to us as we created you at first, yet you supposed we had not set for you a predestined time. Your book will be laid down, and you shall see the sinners dismayed at the content. They will say, woe to us. What can this book mean? It admits nothing small or great. All is noted down, and they shall find their deeds recorded there. Your Lord will wrong none. When we said to the light things, prostrate yourselves before Adam, all prostrated, except Satan, who was a jinn, disobedient to his Lord. And different details in different places don't indicate different things. So a jinn who became disobedient to his lord, because the jinn, like human, well, he was a genie. A genie is the singular. Al jinn is becoming of what, but the angels were told, and the jinn were a smaller group, so they didn't have to be listed separately. They kind of knew what was going to be the thing, right? Wouldn't you then serve him and his offspring as your masters rather than myself, despite their enmity towards you? A sad substitute the wrongdoers have chosen. I did not call them to witness at the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor at their own creation, nor was I to seek the aid of those who were to lead mankind astray. On that day, Allah will say to them, call on the partners which you supposed to be divine. They will invoke them, but will receive no answer, for we shall place a deadly gulf between them. And when the sinners behold the fire, they will realize that they shall be flung, nor shall they escape from it. Now, idols, it goes way beyond idols here. And shuraka, yeah. I know people won't immediately notice partners, right? They're making it like God has partners. Well, that can be explained in a phrase too. In this Quran, we have set forth for men of all manner of parables, but man is exceedingly contentious. Well, I should have said humanity. Nothing can prevent humanity from having faith and seeking forgiveness of their Lord now that guidance has been revealed to them, unless they are waiting for the fate of the ancients to overtake them, or to behold the scourge with their own eyes. We send our apostles only to proclaim good news and to give warning, but with false arguments the unbelievers seek to confute the truth, scoffing at my revelations and my warnings. Who is more wicked than the man who, when reminded of his Lord's revelations, turns away from them and forgets what his own hands have done? We have cast veils over their hearts, lest they understand our words, and made them hard of hearing. Call them as you may to the right path, they shall never be guided. And people are guided all the time because of whatever, but once they're past like the point of no return, they're past the point of no return. And we don't always know where that is unless they're dead, right? But yeah. Your Lord is forgiving and merciful. Had it been his will to scourge them for their sins, he would have hurried on their punishment, but he has set for them a predestined time they cannot evade, and all those nations we destroyed them for the wrongs they did, and for their destruction we set a predestined time. Moses said to his servant, I will journey on until I reach the land where the two seas meet, and though I may march for ages, but when at last they came to the land where the two seas met, they forgot their fish, which made its way into the water, swimming at will. And when they had journeyed farther on, Moses said to his servant, bring us some food. We are worn out with traveling. No, he replied, that I forgot the fish when we were resting on the rock. It was Satan who made me forget to mention this. The fish made its way miraculously into the sea. This is what we have been seeking, said Moses. They went back the way they came and found one of our servants to whom we had vouchsafed our mercy and whom we had endowed with knowledge of our own. Moses said to him, may I follow you so that you may guide me by that which you have been taught? You will not bear with me, replied the other, for how can you bear with that which is beyond your knowledge? Moses said, if Allah wills, you shall find me patient. I shall in no way cross you. He said, if you are bent on following me, you must not question me about anything until I mention it to you myself. The two set forth, but as soon as they embarked, Moses' companion bored a hole in the bottom of the ship. Is it to drown her passengers that you have bored a hole in her? Moses asked. A strange thing you have done. Did I not tell you, he replied, that you would not bear with me? Pardon my forgiveness, said Moses. Do not be angry with me on account of this. They journeyed on until they fell in with a certain youth. Moses' companion slew him, and Moses said, you have killed an innocent man who has slain no one. Surely you have done a wicked thing. Did I not tell you, he replied, that you would not bear with me? Moses said, if I ever question you again, abandon me, for then I should deserve it. They traveled on until they came into a city. They asked its people for some food, but they declined to receive them as their guest. There they found a wall on the point of falling down. His companion restored it, and Moses said, had you wished, you could have demanded payment for your labors. Now has the time arrived when we must part, said the other. But first I will explain to you those acts of mine which you could not bear to watch with patience. Know that the ship belonged to some poor fishermen. I damaged it because at their rear there was a king who was taking every ship by force. As for the youth, his parents, both are true believers, and we feared lest he should plague them with wickedness and unbelief. It was our wish that their Lord should grant them another in his place, a son more righteous and more filial. As for the wall that belonged to two orphan boys in the city, whose father was an honest man, beneath it their treasure is buried. Your Lord decreed, as a mercy from your Lord, that they should dig up their treasure when they grew to manhood. What I did was not done by my will. That is the meaning of what you could not bear to watch with patience. They will ask you about Dhul-Qarnayn. Say, I will give you an account of him. And so we start the third of the things that the envoy had came to test Muhammad with. And they showed up, and after the this was the chapter that answered their three questions. What about the sleepers of the cave? What about the companion of Moses? And what about the chief of the two horns? Now, Alexander the Great, while Dhul-Qarnayn is a title of Kurash, Cyrus the Great. I know Alexander the Great makes some people think of that, but I just don't think it's supported for multiple reasons. That's the identity. But then again, it's the sort of thing can be beyond any particular identity with its points. We made him mighty in the land and gave him means to achieve all things. He journeyed on a certain road until he reached the west and saw the setting sun in a pool of black mud. Hard by, he found a certain people. He came to, it was the time of sunset, and he looked, and the sunset was in the thing. It doesn't say that the sun literally physically sets in the pool. This is the time of the sunset. And just like it doesn't say that you accept whatever teaching of your spiritual guide without questioning and you do whatever. No, the Moses's companion, he got the revelation as a prophet that, hey, there's information, there's someone who knows more than you. Go learn from them, right? Dhul-Qarnayn, we said, you must either punish them or show them kindness. He replied, the wicked we shall surely punish. Then shall they return to their Lord and be sternly punished by him. As for those who have faith and do good works, we shall bestow on them a rich reward and deal indulgently with them. Then he journeyed along another road until he reached the east and saw the sun rising upon a people whom he had exposed to its flaming rays. So he did, and we had full knowledge of all the forces at his command. Then he followed yet another route until he came between the two mountains and found a people who could barely understand a word. Vulcarnain, they said, Gog and Magog are ravaging the land. Juge, Wamajuge, are ravaging this land. Build a rampart between us, and we will pay you tribute. Remember, they're the people of Eurasia. They're the Hyperboreans, the people of Eurasia. He replied, the power my lord has given me is better than any tribute. Lend me a force of men, and I will raise a rampart between you and them. Come, bring me blocks of iron. He dammed up the valley between the two mountains and said, ply your bellows. And when the iron blocks were red with heat, he said, bring me molten brass to pour on them. Gog and Magog could not scale it, nor could they dig their way through it. And we'd explode, for whom we did not provide a veil to shield them from it. We had exposed to its flaming rays. Well, same thing. The sun. Gog and Magog could not scale it, nor could they dig their way through it. Now, the Mongolian passage west kind of had to wait until this earthquake broke the metal-laden wall in Eastern Europe. He said, this is the blessing from my lord, but when my lord's promise has been fulfilled, he will level it to dust. The promise of my lord is true. On that day, we will let them come in tumultuous throngs. The trumpet shall be sounded, and we will gather them all together. And now we arrive at the last 10 verses of the chapter. On that day, we shall lay hell bare before the unbelievers who have turned a blind eye to my admonition and a deaf ear to my warning. Do the unbelievers think that they can make my servants patrons besides me? We have prepared hell for the unbelievers to dwell in. Say, shall we tell you who will lose most through their labors? Those whose endeavors in this world are misguided, and who yet think that what they do is right, who disbelieve in the revelations of their Lord and deny that they will ever meet him. Vain are the works of these. On the day of resurrection, we shall not honor them. Hell is their reward, because they had no faith, and because they scoffed at my apostles and my revelations. As for those who have faith and do good works, they shall forever dwell in the gardens of paradise, desiring no change to befall them. Say, if the waters of the sea were ink with which to write the words of my Lord, the sea would surely dry up before the words of my Lord were finished. Though we brought another sea to replenish it, say, I am but a mortal like yourselves. It is revealed to me that your God is one God. Let him that hopes to meet his Lord do what is right and worship none besides his Lord. And so verses 101 to 110 needed to become immune to the influence of false messiahs, and those first 10 as well. And you can think about that, how Revelation shouldn't be crooked, that things aren't supposed to be mere entertainment, and there's more to go into with all that.